Hi. So this week, I lost a pound. I don't know if that's considered breaking a stall or a plateau, but I'm down a pound. And our topic for this week is breaking the cycle or breaking patterns. So, yes, I got on the scale this morning. I am pound down. And after 2 weeks of gaining, 3 pounds and 1 pound, it was kind of a relief to be going in the other direction. Who knows what this next week is going to be? I didn't change anything that I can think of, but I'm down a pound, so yay. It has been a real challenge for the last couple months to keep going because the weight has gone up and down so much. I am going for the 220 pounds. I want to be 220. I started at 320. Actually, I should say my highest weight was 320. So 220 would make it 100 pounds from my highest weight, but not from the highest, not from when I went to the doctor 2 years ago. And so, yeah, this week has been pretty normal. I work from home, I work remotely in tech, and same stuff. I didn't do as much prep as I would have liked to do, so I did struggle a little bit with my usual eating the Cleos instead of making myself something to eat. So that's one of the things that I need to work on. Didn't get any exercise in this week at all, so that's not great. That's definitely something that I have to fix. I need to break that because this overall 95-pound weight loss is not going to be sustainable if I can't find some way to break this pattern of not moving. I am 61. I turned 61 in March, raised 6 kids. Those of you who come here on a regular basis know this already. But I raised 6 kids, our ages 28 to 40. And I don't have grandkids, so I don't chase grandkids around. I spend 90% of my time sitting in some form of chair. I'm sitting in a chair now. I will probably go sit in my recliner after I'm done here, or I will go sit in the chair in front of my computer. I play video games. I work full-time for a tech company remotely. Everything I do is related to sitting. And so this is a huge pattern for me. But what have I done? What have I fixed? What patterns have I broken? So that's one of the things that we're going to talk about today. I will be looking at my phone because ChatGPT does help to get me started in what to talk about. So I will be using that. I don't have a whole lot else going on, just that I did lose the pound this week. So going the other direction, let's do this. We got it. All right, so I'm going to grab. Okay, so have you ever caught yourself repeating the same habits over and over, even when you know they're not helping you? Yes, me. That's been a big part of my lifestyle change. And this week, I want to talk about how I've been breaking those old patterns. I've been breaking a lot of patterns, haven't broken them all. You'll find that as we're going through. If you've ever felt stuck in a cycle, this video is for you. If you're new here, my name is Donna. As I mentioned, I turned 61 in March, raised 6 kids, work for a tech company. My 6 kids are 28 to 40. Work for a tech company remotely, and I've been on this health journey since November of 2023. And I come on here every week and just talk about how my week went. I'm on week 83 of Manjaro 5 milligrams. So it has worked for me all along, and right now I am in kind of a plateau stall. I've been going back and forth on the same range of weight between 221 and 224, almost 225. So it's been a challenge for the last month or so. And I'm doing the same things. And Manjaro 5 has taken my A1C from 10 to 5.4. It's improved my blood pressure, although I do still need to take A1C because was really hypertensive. I had really high blood pressure, and it's also A1C, and my blood work has been really good. So I'm feeling much healthier than I did at my highest weight of 320 pounds. So I am struggling between the 221 and the 2. I just really want that 220 because that 220 is going to be 100 pounds down from my highest weight. I started on Manjaro, I was about 311. When I started on 5, I was 304. So I have lost a lot of weight, but it's like I want to keep going. And it's been more of a challenge to stay motivated when I'm not losing the amount of weight that I lost at the beginning. But this is about what happens. And so, yeah, this one section that I really, 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 really liked. Okay. I asked it for some specific patterns some specific examples of some patterns. Food and eating patterns. Just so you can, because I was like, well, what patterns or what things am I still doing that I was doing before I started on Manjaro and started losing the weight, etc. So it gave me some specific examples of old habits and patterns. So I invite you to take a look at your own habits and patterns to see if you're in a cycle that you need to break. Big one for me, exercise. Exercise is still a problem. The lack of is still a problem. I don't have any kids to chase. My kids are all grown. I don't have, they're all grown and out of the house and living their own lives. So I don't have anyone that I have to go pick up from anywhere or do anything. And I work remotely, so I don't go into an office and walk around an office. I sit in a recliner, an office chair, and in this one. That's about, I'll go out in the backyard some. So yeah, so that's a big, 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 big pattern for me to break. And I've been trying. This week, I bought one of those hula hoops with the ball on it. Yeah, it's sitting on my sofa. I took it out of the package. I sized it to see if it would fit because my hip butt circumference used to be 62 inches. Now it's 50 something. I would have to go back and double check. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. And I'm like, oh, here's a new thing that I can try. I am notorious for buying exercise equipment and not doing anything with it. I have a treadmill. I have a rebounder. I have weights. I have those little rubber bandy things. I now have the little thing, the hula hoop thing. Do I have any other equipment? No. So I'm real good at getting equipment. Do I use it? No. So that's a big, big, big one for me. And I'm not sure how I'm going to break that. So that's one of the things I'm working on. Okay, so one of the things that it brought up, food and eating patterns. Mindless snacking, especially late at night or while watching TV. All right, so let me tell you this quick story. Those of you who have been here for a while know that my mom lived with me during the pandemic. She lived with me for 4 years, and then she wound up in a nursing home because she broke her hip, and she's had a stroke since, so she doesn't live here anymore. But she lived with me for 4 years, and during that time that she was living here, she basically lived in my living room, and she sat in her recliner 10, 12 hours a day because she was in a wheelchair and she wasn't able to get around very well. And I worked remotely. So I would walk out of my office, and the kitchen was right behind her. So I would have to pass her to go get whatever food I wanted. Well, I got into the habit because she got up like at 8 o'clock in the morning and she didn't go to bed till like 9 or whatever. So she was always right there in that recliner. And I got to the point where I would only eat stuff I thought she would be okay with and wouldn't judge me on. I'm so embarrassed to even admit this, but let me just tell you, it became a really bad pattern, habit, whatever. For once I got her, helped her into bed, she generally could get herself in, but I would make sure she was set, especially after she broke her hip the first time, or injured her hip the first time. I would bring her packs for her hip, and I would make sure she got into bed okay and everything was good, and then close the door, and then it was all heck brought, would break loose. And I would make an entire sandwich, 2 pieces of bread, lunch meat, whatever, big sandwich, 1 or 2 bags of chips, and a big old bowl of ice cream, and then maybe a package of cookies, whatever. And I would take all those and I would go into my bedroom and I would sit there and eat and watch TV in the evening. That was a regular nightly thing because I did not want my mom, who was, born in the 40s, and, she definitely had a belief that I shouldn't be eating certain things because I was over 300 pounds, whether it was born from concern, you know, but I felt judged. She actually had made a comment once when I braved, you know, bringing a bunch of stuff into my room that, wow, that's a lot. So I got into the habit of like eating that stuff after she went to bed. After I got her tucked in safely into bed, I would go and, I guess, binge. I would binge. I would eat whatever I could get in the evening from 9 to 10 o'clock every night. I don't do that anymore. Partly because there's nobody living here anymore. It's just me, so I can come out here whenever. But I think that in the 2 years that I have been doing this, that even if I had somebody living with me, that I wouldn't feel the same as I felt back then. The amount of shame that went along with the pastries and the cookies and the sandwiches and the ice cream. And I don't even buy regular ice cream anymore. I do buy Yasso's and what is it called? Breyers. The yogurt bars and things like that. So I do buy those, but I make my own ice cream now. I make my own protein ice cream. I don't feel like I need to hide what I'm eating because I feel now like I'm eating healthier. And granted, there was nothing necessarily wrong with her saying, "Wow, that's a lot." Look at that, that's a lot. I felt the shame, and it wasn't necessarily her fault, but I definitely had a pattern. I had a cycle, and I've broken that. And I feel like if I had somebody living with me now, I wouldn't feel like I had to hide it. So that's one. Mindless snacking went into a big story. Skipping meals and overeating later. I did that. I never ate breakfast. Partially because I had 6 kids in 12 years and I had so much morning sickness it wasn't funny. So breakfast for me for decades was just not a thing. But when I started on this journey, I made sure that I had breakfast because I knew breakfast would help me to stay full, along with the shot, with the appetite suppressant from taking my Manjaro. But, it would keep me full. So I am at the point now, the only thing I really need to work on is my lunch. My breakfast is fine. My dinner is fine. My lunch is a bit more of a challenge because I work at home. So, and I usually am in the middle of something. I'm in a spreadsheet. I'm talking to a coworker. I'm doing strategy, whatever. And I'm not really thinking about anything but, oh, I should eat something. And then I'll walk out of my office and go to the fridge and I'll grab a Clio. And one of the things I'm working on is making sure that I have something prepped that I can just take a container and stick in the microwave, or just take, something and put it in an air fryer. And I haven't reached that. I started doing ingredient prep for dinners, but I haven't pushed that to where I have ingredient prep for lunch. Meal prep doesn't really work for me because I do tend to ignore it if it's the same as what I had yesterday. And I know that sounds crazy because I have no problem with picking up a Clio and just inhaling it. So that's one of the things I'm working on to improve is, okay, breakfast, I got it. I have the same breakfast every day. I have cottage cheese. I have English muffins, cottage cheese, and some sort of fruit, either frozen or fresh. And that's my breakfast with a cup of coffee. And usually that's when I start my water. So that's my breakfast. Great. Dinner, I usually have one of the things that I've prepped, or I'll do something in a tortilla, or I'll make some chicken. So breakfast and dinner have not been an issue. Lunch has been an issue because I haven't prepped lunches. So that's one of the things that I need to. Now I've made improvements. I've broken the cycle of not having breakfast. I've broken the cycle of not having dinner and waiting until 9 o'clock, 9 or 10 o'clock to binge. I don't do that anymore. And I haven't done it since I started this journey. I just don't. Because the house is all mine now, and it wasn't before. So anyway, skipping meals and overeating, rewarding yourself with food. I had a good day. I deserve this treat. I had a good week. I deserve this. I think that enjoying your food is fine. I think we just need to change our mindset on enjoying this food is a reward. There's other things that we can use as rewards. I do puzzles, I play video games, I have all these different things that I enjoy. And rewards for me aren't food. I don't order in. I think I maybe order in once every 6 weeks, maybe. And then that's with all kinds of checking to see to make sure that I'm not going to go over my calories for the day. So yeah, rewarding yourself with food is something that I used to do. End of my workday, my mom's all tucked in. She's doing fine. My caretaking was good for the day. Okay, now I can go have a sandwich, have some chips, a bag of cookies, have some ice cream. Maybe I'll grab a couple pieces of candy, whatever. Take that in there and take it into my room, turn on the TV, exhale, because it was a long, busy day at work, and my mom is safely, in her bed. And so I can, and then stuff like this. I mean, that's just the way it used to be. I don't do that anymore. Now, part of it is I don't have the weight of taking care of my mom, but I don't reward myself with food for a good work day. I don't reward myself with food for, whatever else I happen to do that was good or positive. I made a phone call. I made an appointment. I did what I was supposed to do. I decluttered a closet. It's not that. I don't do that anymore. So I broke that cycle. It was a cycle, and a cycle that went on for decades. It wasn't like it was new to this particular journey. So I did do that. And think about how, what you've done in that regard. Finishing the plate out of habit, even when full. For my friends that are over 60, I was we were a military family. My dad was in the Air Force. I moved every year or so for the first 11 years of my life. And we did yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Very well behaved children. And part of that was making sure we cleared our plate. We clear our plate and we get dessert. If we didn't clear our plate, we didn't get dessert. If we refused to eat, we got sent to our room without dinner. So we cleared our plate. And my mom was a really good cook and a great baker. She made eclairs and cakes and cupcakes and everything she made, except I don't like beans, so anything with beans got given to the dog. I'm wondering why the dog is so farty. But so anything I didn't like, I found ways to give it to the dog. But in general, we ate everything on our plate and then we got dessert. That was just the way things were done back then. And that mentality is really hard to shake. And I didn't want to do that to my kids. So that wasn't really, I didn't have that attitude when I was raising my kids. But we had it as kids. And sometimes it's kind of like, it's really hard to push things away and not eat it. And the other aspect of it was that if I order something in, I want to eat it when it's hot. That used to be an issue. Order a pizza, even if it's a medium pizza, you eat the whole darn pizza so that it can still be hot when you eat it. Now we have air fryers. So you can order a pizza and put the rest in the refrigerator or in the fridge and then heat it up. That's not something we would have to turn on the oven to reheat. It wasn't as easy. So much easier now to like reheat stuff. So, okay, to continue. Grazing all day instead of planned meals. So that's what I was talking about. Lunchtime, I usually go and do a Clio or something like that. So I'm working on not grazing. I'll grab a bag of chest. I'll grab a bag of Quest or a Clio or something quick. And that's okay. It's just I feel like I'm not getting everything I need. And then I do too much of that snacky style things. So that's something I'm working on. Okay, routine and lifestyle patterns. Skipping self-care, exercise, journaling, and prep because of busyness. That was what I was talking about. I really need to do I'm doing much better. I definitely do my breakfast. I definitely do okay on dinner. Dinner is available to me. I still do that. I don't know what's for dinner. What I need to do is start writing it down. Now I've been doing like making ingredients, cooking up my turkey, my ground turkey on Sundays, or cooking up whatever the protein is going to be for the week and sticking it in the fridge. And then I know when dinner comes, I have that. I have let some stuff go spoil because I haven't written down like what I'm going to eat each night, which is the next thing that I need to do. Now that I'm starting to prep stuff, I need to set down, okay, you're going to make a taco bowl on Monday. You're going to have, I don't know, pork chops on Tuesday. You're going to have this on Wednesday. So that's the next thing that I need to do. I have gotten past the relying on as much of the convenience foods as I used to rely on. So yeah, that's one of the things I need to write. I need to write it down. Like when I do my hauls, I think at the end of the hauls, I will probably do, okay, this is what's planned for Monday through Friday. Because otherwise, I go through the same thing everybody else goes through. I know what's for dinner. What's for dinner? So that's the next step for me. I'm starting to prep things ahead of time. Let's figure out what's for dinner for each day. And you think, well, you're just by yourself. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, but then I still have to think, I still have to come up with what's for dinner, even if it's just me and I don't have anyone else to worry about. Okay, so that's Okay, routine and lifestyle. Okay, it was skipping self-care. We did that. Hitting snooze instead of starting the day with intention. I'll be honest, I don't have an alarm clock because I go to bed relatively early, like around 9 o'clock. And I usually wake up between 4 and 6. It really depends. And my work, I can start essentially whenever I need to. And I will usually start between 7:30 and 8, sit down at the computer, do my work. I've been working remotely for so long, and especially for this company, that I get whatever I need to get done. But I don't have an alarm clock. But if you do, hitting snooze instead of starting the day with intention. So that means, you're supposed to be up at a certain time and you sleep past it. That is something, I don't know. I just don't have that right now, so it's not really a concern. If I were to change jobs and have to be up at 7 o'clock, I would probably have to set an alarm. Falling back into sedentary habits like scrolling or sitting too long. I sit too long. I sit all the time. I sit in the chair in front of my computer in my office. I sit in my recliner that used to be my mom's recliner. And I sit in this, I don't sit here as much. I only sit here when I'm talking to you guys. But those two chairs and then in bed. And that's it. So I don't do a whole lot anything else. And that's one of the things that I need to work on. And I think I said something about the fact that I got a new exercise thing. Okay. Not planning ahead would lead to unhealthy last minute choices. That was the meal planning thing I was talking about. Even if I don't want to put already prepared meals in the refrigerator, I would rather do ingredients that are ready. I still need something that tells me tonight you're having taco bowl and tonight you're having, whatever else. See, I can't even think of anything else but taco bowl. So I have to get more into that because then I'm not picking something last minute like a Clio, or a popsicle or a bag of chips. I need to write that down. Okay, mindset patterns. Negative self-talk. I'll never get this right. And yeah, that's a big one for me, especially when my weight is fluctuating so much the last couple months. There's a big lump in my throat when I go to stand on the scale and not knowing which direction it's going to go. It's a big thing that I have to break because I worry so much about which direction the scale is going. And I have that fear that I'm going to go the wrong direction and wind up gaining all this weight, the 95 pounds that I've lost already. And it's a true challenge to not blame myself or not talk negatively. What did you do? What didn't you do? Why didn't you do this? How come you're up 3 pounds? How come you're up 2 pounds? How come, look at what you did. It's really hard to break, especially when you're in the older age bracket, because we got told so much. It's your fault. The reason that you're morbidly obese is because you have no willpower. You're lazy. You're this. You're that. I hate those words more than anything on the planet. I would never say that to any other human being. But it got said to me quite a bit. So, although, my family and my friends are always so good to me, but there's people out there that aren't as good. Okay. All or nothing thinking is another mindset pattern. I messed up once, so the whole day is ruined. We've talked about that a couple times now in a couple of my videos. Just, I broke that. I broke that cycle. All or nothing. Mostly. Mostly, I broke that. That mindset of if you make a choice that you don't feel is good for your journey, and then you just throw up your hands and say, forget it, I can't do this. I'm doing way better on that sort of thing. It's still automatic, it's still something, but I'm able to talk myself through it now, something I wasn't able to do. Like I said, Weight Watchers did great. Stayed on my points, did the thing, lost 50 pounds over and over and over again. Slim Fast. Ordered, got my Slim Fast shakes, drank my shakes, had dinner. Great. Lost the weight, put it right back on. So, all or nothing. Nope. Need to work on being able to be flexible. And that is really tough for those of us who are perfectionists. It's just all or nothing. There is an in between. And I know that's hard to get to that, but you are not completely shot down because you made a mistake, and even if and it may not even be a mistake, it might be on the road to something that's not a mistake. So you never know. Comparing yourself to others instead of your own progress. That was a challenge for me in the beginning, not so much now. I'm completely on board with the idea that we are all different. We all have different body types, histories, um, our biology, everything is different. So I cannot compare myself to another 61, almost 62-year-old woman who's 5'2" and 220 something pounds. I can't compare myself to her. I don't know whether she even has had diabetes. She may not have had diabetes. Maybe she's never had high blood pressure. Maybe she's got issues with her kidney. She's got CKD. Maybe she's got sleep apnea. Who knows? Her biology is going to be completely different than my biology. So my comparing the way that she loses weight or the way that her blood work improves or doesn't improve is going to be different. It just is. And that's something that we have to teach ourselves. I'm not comparing myself to the person I used to. I used to look at, oh my gosh. I mean, and it's even harder now. Now that I'm going through a little bit of a plateau stall where I'm not losing the amount of weight I was losing in the beginning, because I'm getting closer and closer and closer to that end goal. I still have 50 pounds at least, maybe 60, until I get to that end goal. But I'm not 95 pounds plus the 60 pounds. So, yeah. Comparing yourself to others. It's hard not to. I know it. I get it. Okay. Get it out of your system. Move on. And talk yourself out of it. That's how I do it. I talk to myself all alone, lots, just saying, okay, like this morning when I got on the scale and I was a pound down, I got into the shower and cried like a baby to the point where I was hiccuping. I mean, and it wasn't because of the pound I lost. It was just, I think, just a cathartic release. There's been so much going on in this world right now. There's been it just weighted me down. And yes, I lost a pound and I'm so happy it's going in the other direction. Let's see how it goes next week. But I just released so much. But it was also the very first thing that came out of my mouth was, I only lost a pound, really? Because it's been 6 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever where the weight went up and whatever. I am truly happy that I did lose a pound this week. So don't get me wrong. But, there's all that societal weight on us for being successful. And, you're comparing yourself and, So, procrastination, waiting for the perfect time to start. I don't do that anymore. Something that I learned, just don't do that anymore. Um, it's no longer about I ate a meal that's too high in calories. I put the meal in my tracker. I mean, I track everything. If you want, you can see my main video on the top. I track everything. Save. Sometimes I'm not completely perfect, and I've noticed lately I haven't been measuring as much, so I may go back to that to see if that helps with some of the being stuck in the 221 to 224 range. If maybe I've been misjudging how much, I'm actually eating because I'm not using my food scale as much, so I may do that. But yeah. Using old excuses. I'm too tired. I'll start Monday. Yeah. When I got prescribed, when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and I got prescribed, it took me 2 weeks to take my shot. And then I took it for a while. I took my 2.5, and then I stopped taking it for like 2 or 3 weeks. I didn't take it serious. I just really didn't think this was going to work after all the times I had tried. And then I got titrated up, as I've mentioned before, to 5 milligrams. And I've been on 5 milligrams since February of 2024. And I'm down 95 pounds. So, and my blood work is great. Fantastic. The next steps for me is I'm going to get my blood work again probably in December. I need to go get a mammogram and get the female test done and all the stuff that I should have been doing because I was not going to the doctor before. So I need to go get all those tests done just to make sure because I'm walking around going, I got great blood work. But I have to make sure that I don't have something growing in me that I don't, So that's probably beginning of the year, 2026. I'm going to go and get all those tests taken care of and then figure out from there and continue this journey, this health journey. Okay, so it gave me some story examples, but I've already done that. Okay. Old patterns don't define who you are, they just show where you've been. What defines you is the new patterns you are choosing today. Okay. So, if there is something that you're trying, if there is a pattern that you're trying to break, if you identify with any of the ones that I read to you, please comment and we can discuss in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like. And if you're new, please subscribe. And I think that's it. That's it for me today. I haven't done a reset and release in a few weeks. I'm going to do that this weekend. I'm going to go back into my mom's room. I need to start doing some recording in that room. So I'm going to start moving stuff out of her room and do that. I don't know if I'll get to it this week, but I'm definitely going to do a review of my freezer, fridge, and pantry. Just so you can get a feel for what I have. I need to do it it's going to be part of my reset and release. I need to do it because I still have stuff that my mom had in here, and I had gotten rid of all the stuff that was expiring 2 years ago, year and a half ago. I don't go in that pantry very much, and I need to be setting it up for future. So I'm going to go in the pantry, go through all the stuff that's left over, and also go through my freezer and my fridge before I do my next grocery haul, just to make sure I'm not letting stuff go bad just because I want to have a grocery haul, So we're going to go through and just kind of shop in what I have already. And so I will do that. And I think that's it for this week. 1 pound down, guys. So I guess you would call that breaking the plateau. And also I've got two recipes I said I was going to try. The muffins, the pancake muffins, and the Greek yogurt brownies. So I will give those a try. I haven't tried recording when I make these things because I am not a cook or baker. So I'm afraid to turn on the camera and, I'm not very good at teaching other people how to do it because I'm not very good at it. But we will see. We will see. I might turn on the camera and then record me making them and add those to my thing. All right. So that's it. I love you. I hope you guys have a great week. I will talk to you soon. All right. Bye. Don't forget to hit like on the way out. Bye.